So Republicans are having boycotts over, everything. And they're attacking Bud Light. It's not that the parent company has been a major supporter of the Republicans. Now, Republican mega donors are turning away from the Republican Party because of all this culture war, which, couldn't actually possibly be the fact, because we were told the culture wars were over in the 90s and 2000s and 2010 and 2016, and every few years media comes out and tells us the culture wars are now over. Don't you worry about those culture wars, because Republicans have finally turned the corner and they will be responsible people. Lovely, isn't it? But as Republicans get further devolved or separated from the corporate overlords who have ruled them and used them to make money and cut their own taxes for decades, they are starting to bite the hand that kept them in office. Republicans are constantly going after the woke corporations. Yes. What happens when a Republican demagogue starts going after the corporations, demanding that they pay the taxes so we can cut taxes on every working man and woman in America? Man, how is that going to feel? The weapon that the corporation and the rich have used to stop America from progressing, stop America from getting anything and everything that we actually could have within a decade. Cutting crime in half. Camden, New Jersey, fired every single police officer and cut their crime in half. Because when you get rid of corrupt cops and have cops that are actually doing their job, even though that, I'll admit, Camden's cops are still corrupt and still not doing what they should, but getting rid of the most corrupt cops cut their crime in half. Now, if we actually look at the weapon the corporations have made that is turning on themselves, where they're going to shoot themselves in the face, I say have at it. How entertaining it will be. Corporations have spent billions of dollars keeping the Republicans in charge when America is not actually a divided country. We're not actually divided. 90% of Americans want to raise taxes on the rich to pay for things that America needs. The majority of America wants to eliminate corruption in the government. But billions have been spent to keep Republicans in charge and in contention with Democrats. We see the FBI kneecapping Democrats all up and down the ballot. Even when they said they would stop after J. Edgar Hoover, that never happened. Because we had a former deputy of the FBI saying, hey, yeah, remember back when we said we would no longer go after people because of ideology? Because, J. Edgar Hoover hated Democrats and socialism and communism and anything on the left. He weaponized the FBI against us, and they said they would stop. But, that deputy director said, they said they would stop, but, I was hired that year afterwards, and that was my first job, to disrupt the Democrats, to make sure they can't win elections. And it continued all the way to Hillary Clinton. Now, you would think the Democrats and the Republicans actually spend reasonably the same amount on elections. But Fox Propaganda Network spends billions every year in their ads, their channels. Every single person on there runs Republican propaganda to keep them in power. So Democrats have been fighting against the lobbyists, the FBI, the cops, the Republican Party, the news media, all to keep America functioning. Now, the news has been losing interest in the Republicans' constant lies. They actually started to tie in what the Republicans have been doing for decades. Not nearly enough, because anytime a Republican says Republicans are tough on crime, you got to ask them why. It has seemed completely that your approach to crime has failed when Republican states have 50% more violent crime. But as Republicans turn on the corporations that fed them and clothed them and kept them as leeches on the Democrats making the money, they're going to turn on Republicans. And for the $10 to $20 billion every year spent to keep Republicans in power so the rich could have their tax cuts, that's going to evaporate. And how badly will they lose when Twitler is again the nominee and Republicans have spent the last 3 years or so attacking one corporation after the other? Peter Thiel, mega donor to the Republicans, stop donating for the culture wars that they're waging. I wonder how long it's going to actually last.